What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 390 of the Hoots Podcast. It's your boy, the nefarious brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez. You can follow me on X at the Hoots Podcast. We record this bad boy live each and every single week. We drop it on Thursdays free of charge. We don't have a Patreon, we don't have merchandise. But if you would like to help support the podcast, hit us up on the Cash App as you see on the ticker down on the screen. Yes, it is indeed me, the nefarious brother Adam, grinding, putting in that grunt work as the weeks go by, not only transcript wise, but as I've been on this weight loss journey and reshaping what I want this next chapter of my life to look like. All is good in the world of Joshie. So I just want to say thanks to each and every single one of you for your support of the podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening to the Hoots Podcast, I want to say thank you for giving us a shot. This podcast has been around for 8 years. We're 10 episodes away from reaching episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast. I want to give a big shout out to each and every single one of you who are frequent listeners, because I found out the other day that the podcast has now surpassed 900,000 downloads on Anchor / Spotify for podcasters. So, fucking awesome, man. I just want to say thanks to each and every single one of you for helping this out, grow this podcast to wider imagination that I never thought it would at times. And I'm just very, very grateful for your guys' support. So, all that being said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. And we got storyline stuff to go through. We have a pay-per-view coming up on Saturday, which I'll be covering. The final pay-per-view I'll be transcribing of 2023. I'm just personally happy, and I could... is it okay if I could confess something? Is that okay between me and you guys? I like to confess that I am done with 2023, and 2024 can't come quick enough. I'm ready for this year to be in the rear view mirror, and not in a bad way. You know, I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot in a positive point of view. And as I've been staying over the last couple of episodes, I feel like I've been rebounding in a good way. You know, life is good, man. I have next to nothing to complain about. It's been nice getting back on the groove of having my work. Yeah, would I love to go back and have even more stuff to do, like Impact and MLW and New Japan, especially, of course. But the fact that I do have my job back is something that I do not take for granted. And I'm having fun with it. So, you know, holiday season is here. Christmas is in a couple of weeks. And I'm excited for tomorrow. As I'm recording this on Thursday, I'm going to downtown, going to Navy Pier tomorrow. Excited for that. This is one of the new things I've been adopting to my life over the last 5 to 6 months, where I'm taking some time to myself and go downtown and walk around. And I get my steps in occasionally downtown. And it's a fun challenge, to say the least, to do that. Because sometimes I'll go from Navy Pier, go all the way to Millennium Park or Sears Tower, et cetera, et cetera. So I do get my steps in. It is a good workout to do my walking stuff downtown, but it's also time for me to like take a step back and reevaluate some things, you know, just chill and, you know, have some downtime and have some me time, just to try to look things from a brighter perspective. I think a lot of us, especially for those like us or myself who's single, who don't have kids, they're not in a relationship, stuff like that. It's easy. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's very prevalent at times when you're not in the vicinity of multiple people every single day. Like I said, you're not in a relationship. It gets to the point sometimes where not that you feel lonely, but you can get in your head sometimes, because there's times where you're by yourself and it's only you, and you know, don't want to make it weird, but like, you know, maybe you'll have a conversation with yourself. Maybe you start asking yourself some questions like, why am I still recording shows? Why am I still doing this? Why, for example, why am I still living in Chicago? I don't want to be here anymore. I've expressed that openly, that I don't want to be here anymore. I just don't. But I try to remind myself when those times come where I do start like questioning myself or any like self doubt creeps in. I'd have to reimagine my brain threshold at times because like nobody wants to go through their life being miserable and morose and always thinking that the sky's gonna fall. Like I am not a glass half empty type of person. I've been burned a lot, so it takes a while for me to trust things, especially like connections and stuff like that, friendships, et cetera, with people. But in general, I would like to think that, um, especially with this podcast and how I carry myself in my whole life, I feel like I am like a positive, outgoing person, and I do see the good in a lot of people, and I've tried to express the good aspects of what makes professional wrestling special, especially like recording this show, and try to remind people to let's not take this stuff for granted. But uh, every day you're inundated with useless debates, people acting like their shit don't sneak on social media, having to sit through things that make you lose your IQ points, and sometimes you may be confused in the world that you're in. Like, where do you stand within this world? What do people want from you? Man, the only person you need to answer to is yourself and God at the end of the day. If I could give out one piece of advice to anybody listening to this podcast this week, the only person that you have to answer to is yourself and God. There's so much that this life throws at you that you have no control over, that you'll start asking a bunch of questions that have no merit to making you progress as a human being. And it's like if you want to go down that rabbit hole, that's the decision that you make. But you also have to understand, man, that we're all going to make mistakes. Sometimes we may say the wrong thing at times. Maybe people misinterpret your point of view and your attention in a conversation through a message or whatever. Now, all these things that I mentioned are not applicable to stuff that's going on with me personally at this current juncture because, I'm keeping it to myself. I am, like I said, I've been on this weight loss project and stuff like that for the last 6 months. I've been getting back in the grind and doing the articles and still recording the show, but I keep to myself. I'm not really like doing much. It's been a lot of sacrifices I've been making this year. But I'm just thinking in general, like the worst thing about society today is that communication is just meaningless on the surface level. Communication is just at bottom tier level all around. I feel like a lot of people don't have the ability to listen. People don't have the want or need to have uncomfortable conversations at times. And people like to write up their own truths and stuff like that. And like I said, even though a couple minutes ago I just said, hey, the only person you need to answer to is yourself and God. I totally 100% believe in that. And I go through my life like that. At the same time, for people in like family members that care about you and have good advice and they actually follow through with their actions, obviously those are the ones you need to acknowledge. But I think as a whole, you got to have some sense of self-awareness, and I think that's another issue that um, continues to plague society as it is today because we don't have self-awareness. We don't have self-awareness in the ways we view things, the way we go our life. A lot of people still act within a robotic mentality based on their upbringing, and most issues in this world starts at home. And not everybody's gonna be perfect, but I would wish that it would be okay for people to understand that communication is just as much important as the money you make and the relationships that you have with people. I mean, at some point you can get pushed to the point where fuck everybody. I don't need this. I don't need that. I don't care about anybody. I'm just gonna do me, me, me. It's me against the world. Stuff like that. I've had those thoughts at times, I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm not gonna run from it. But that's not the way to live your life. To say that you don't need anybody, I don't think it's true. I love my family. I'm very appreciative of my friends that I made over the years through school and being part of this field for the last 10 years. I'm grateful for wrestling. I'm grateful for my relationship with God. And I'm also grateful to a certain extent to the people who've done me wrong and burned me and betrayed me and rejections and et cetera, et cetera. To a certain extent, I'm really grateful for those people because it's helped me become grounded and focus on what makes me happy. And you know, one of the things I've always said about myself is that I'm my own worst enemy. There's nothing that anybody on this planet can say that I haven't said to myself. So it's like, I'm my own harshest critic. So it's just like weight off my shoulder. Yeah, I had to deal with a lot of nonsense and bullying and stuff in the early parts of my school years, due to my hearing issues and had to do special ed classes and stuff like that. But I feel like I've outgrown those issues and I feel like I am a normal person. I mean, what do you consider a normal person in 2023 these days? I don't know. That's another question that we need to ask, right? But I'm just very appreciative of the people who've done wrong to me because it's those people to show me what I don't want to be, what I'm not willing to accept and tolerate, and how I don't want to carry myself. Uh, you got to take good with the bad, right? This thing called life is not rainbows and butterflies all the time, and to think that this podcast has lasted this long and that we're 10 episodes away from episode 400, if that's not another further testament of pushing through and consistency and continuing to pump out good shows, irregardless of people, whether they like your opinion on wrestling or whatever, or switches with on-air co-hosts, etc., etc. I don't know what that is, man. This show is very, very resilient, and that's really something that I'm proud of, and I take a lot of pride in when it comes to this podcast. This podcast has done a lot of wonders for me in a lot of great ways. Like, it's done wonders for me from a inner self confidence point of view and helping me get out of my shell at times. I've always said this show has been a great like mental health escape for me, and it's also a platform for me to be accountable for my uh, qualms and stuff like that, and things I've gone and had the wrong approach. Look, for those who've been following this journey for the last 8 years, I've shared a lot of stuff. I became very vulnerable. I've been very honest. Maybe some will say to a fault at times, but what you see is what you get. What you hear is what you get too. Like, I'm not putting a front on it for anybody. I'm not playing. I'm not acting here. I'm not looking for clout. I'm not a clout chaser. You know what I mean? So we've had a lot of like uncomfortable conversations on the podcast before, but also those are rooted in conversations that I would have with people if I was sitting next to them at a party or we're just hanging out. Like, when I that's kind of the inspiration of that whole back porch Q&A session. Because for those who've been rocking with us since day one, you guys know the drill, man. This show is about being a positive escape for people. Get to share some life lessons along the way. I want you to feel like I'm sitting next to you and we're just having a conversation about life and wrestling and everything in between. And I know we've accomplished that. And again, I want to make it clear, even though the times I've thrown out there where I don't know whether this show is worth continuing doing, or sometimes I feel like the show's overstaying its welcome, I do not take for granted what this show has accomplished and what it means to people too, because it's not just about me. The Hoots podcast is not 100% solely based on Josh Lopez. And I will own up to that. The success of whatever you want to base success is on in regards to this show, it hasn't been only 100% based on the stuff that I provided on this show. Yes, I've been the host. Yes, I've been on every episode besides one. Yes, I have produced and shared every episode that we've done here, but it's not about me. It's not. It's about the brotherhood that we've started with this show. It's about Adam Daly, my brother, who we started the show together in 2016. It's about the guys who've always gone out of the way to support the podcast or made appearances here and there, like Brandon DeJesus and Patrick Fritz and my guy Sam Piopo. By the way, you should go check out Sam at Second City Sam on X. He's re-up doing his Second City Sam Hot Takes podcast, so you guys should go support Sam's work because he's very good at doing this stuff as well. Chris Zaletta, Mike Rubio, B-Rob, and referee Tony, Brother Carter, obviously played a big part of this show. And all of you, it's not all only about me. I reap only benefits I've attained from this show is from the brief period of time we were making money from Spotify when we first started having a hot streak of listenership. But literally, this is 100% shoot. I have yet to make a single penny off this podcast since October 27th of 2020. I looked every day on our Anchor Spotify account, which provides the RSS feed of this podcast, where we should get the podcast on Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon Music, anywhere you get your podcast from. All of it comes from that site that we use to upload the show. Look, man, again, we have yet to get any money off of our account for almost 3.5 years. It's crazy. So literally 3 years we haven't made a single penny, and guess what? That's okay too. I understand that this show serves a bigger purpose than us becoming rich and having blue check marks on social media accounts and being the face of wrestling media and stuff like that. Look, I know within my heart, I know where I stand amongst my colleagues and people who do this on a bigger level, on bigger platforms. All I'm just saying is that I'm very cognizant and appreciative of the people who made this show what it's been for the last 8 years. And whether or not we continue on with the show after WrestleMania 40 or whatever, I want to enjoy this final leg of whatever this show is going to be. I don't know how many episodes that's going to be, and I haven't made a set decision yet on what's that going to look like. But I just want to say again that I'm very cognizant of what the show's been able to accomplish, and if in any way the show's helped you enjoy your wrestling experience better or give you a different perspective on relationships and life and etc., then I've done my job. Whether I make $100,000 a year off this podcast or have 500,000 subscribers on YouTube or whatever the situation is, whatever comes out of this final leg of this podcast, I want you to know from my heart that I appreciate all of you. I'm thankful for all of you because there's been times where I don't know if I made the right decision going into the broadcasting field, and here I am 10 years later still making transcripts and recording this podcast. There's been setbacks. There's been times where there's been failures, but I don't feel like I'm a failure. I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm still untapping some untapped potential here and there. And I know the future is bright. And it's thanks to all of you. It's thanks to every single person that's made this show what it is. And again, just really in this moment in my life where I had to be present and not take these days for granted. So um, here we are, man. 390 episodes of the Hoots Podcast. 10 more to go to 400. And, we're very, very close to a million plays and downloads. I just couldn't be more grateful for all of you guys, seriously. So I just want to say thank you. All that being said, though, I do want to mention one thing on the plugs, and if you guys could do me a favor, I know episode 400 is coming up soon. I don't have the exact date yet, but if you guys want to send any audio shout-outs for yours truly or the podcast as a whole, you can. All you have to do is send me an MP3 file to the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. Pretty simple ordeal there. If you want to be part of episode 400 and you can't be like on air with us at the time when we do that show, and you want to send audio shout outs, those would be deeply appreciated. It could be as long as you want. It could be 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. If anybody wants to send any shout outs for episode 400, we appreciate it. So I'm gonna throw it out there. I'll put out a couple tweets about it as the weeks go by. Once we get closer to episode 400, I still got to figure out what particular day episode 400 is going to be, but it's gonna be here before you know it. So that's our thoughts there for our opening monologue this week. All right, folks, it's time to talk about what happened this week in WWE as we're on the road to the Royal Rumble, and there's a lot to talk about this week from Raw and SmackDown, everything in between. I just want to mention really quick, tomorrow night on SmackDown is the Tribute to the Truth special. They're doing it in Providence, Rhode Island tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. CM Punk is going to be on the show. We'll talk a little bit about CM Punk in this segment as well. For those who are watching and listening to this, let me know what's really standing out to you right now from WWE programming, and like who's like your early favorites going into the Royal Rumble? Who do you want to see win those matches for the men and the women? And like what's piquing your interest right now with Raw or SmackDown? So you can comment down below or hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast, and I love to see you guys' responses because. There's a lot of stuff to chew on when it comes to the stuff going on in WWE right now as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania season. So here's the deal. One thing I'm pulling up. Hold up, there you go. I'm just pulling up the audio clip here I wanted to play for you guys. There's been a lot of discussion about, what's going to come out of this run for CM Punk. Is it only going to be him and Seth Rollins going into WrestleMania 40? Should they fight at WrestleMania 40? Should they fight at the Royal Rumble? A lot of different questions. And then, hold up. You have that, right? And then there's reports out there that there may be a possibility of Stone Cold fighting CM Punk at WrestleMania, and wanted to play a little clip here from my boy Andrew Baydala's show that he does here on YouTube called TNT with JD from New York. I hope you guys enjoy it. Because there's a lot of different points. There's even people out there that are saying that maybe we don't need this match with Stone Cold and CM Punk. Let's hear what Drew has to say.
Do we need this match? Do we need it?
Are you high?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Do we need this match at WrestleMania to make it WrestleMania? Come on, bro.
Shut the fuck up.
The answer is no.
What?
We don't need this match. We don't.
Who says this? Hey.
I'll pose the question to you. Do you think we need CM Punk versus Stone Cold? I'm in the business of covering the wrestling business, and if it's going to make money and it's good on all fronts from the company and it's going to help us out as content creators, why would we not have CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't we have that match? So is it something that it has to be Stone Cold and CM Punk at WrestleMania for me? No. But if it's on the table and it could be a reality, yeah, no shit. Like, why not? You're gonna make some money off of it. It's definitely gonna be big box office for sure if that match is to happen. But is it something where it's like I have to have this at WrestleMania? No, because I think there's a lot of different things you can do with CM Punk going into WrestleMania. I've thrown it out there. I would love to see CM Punk against John Cena. Maybe you do CM Punk and Roman and you want to get into that issue with Paul Heyman and everything. You had the Seth Rollins match on the table. You have, hell, you can even do CM Punk and Kevin Owens if you want. You can do a bunch of different stuff for WrestleMania with CM Punk. Like I said, man, CM Punk really is the wild card going into WrestleMania this year. Because I know, and it's been really shoehorned about Cody getting his second chance, and we're gonna have Roman and Cody too. And look, I'm not gonna say no to that because I still remain steadfast on the fact that Roman and Cody had one of the best matches of 2023 in that match at WrestleMania. I know a lot of you are still butthurt over the fact that Cody did not win at WrestleMania 39, but that doesn't change the fact that those two had one of the best world title main events in WrestleMania history this past year. I'm just shooting out facts there, man. Go back and watch that match and tell me that wasn't a clinic and a classic for that world title match. Hell, even the root of the anger, of the disappointment, and what that did for Cody for the rest of this year. I don't want to go over the top and hyperbole and say that's cinema and stuff like that, but like that's top tier shit. What that match was. That match was fantastic. So, yeah, you want Roman and Cody again at WrestleMania and have Cody finish the story, then great. But you do have that wild card factor with CM Punk. There's a lot of things to chew on there. It's going to be really interesting. It's like, okay, you're going to blur the lines of reality with CM Punk. Whenever that time comes where he does have these face-to-face conversations with Seth Rollins, what does he say tomorrow night? I'm curious to see how SmackDown's going to be because usually with Tribute to the Troops, it's a different type of show, and they do it as their own special that they air on the weekends. But Tribute to the Troops is going to be the entire edition of SmackDown tomorrow night. And I've always said Tribute to the Troops is one of my favorite shows to cover out of the year. I am a big advocate for the military and have a lot of love and respect for all the men and women who put their bodies on the line for each and every single one of us to live the life that we have. And I've always loved Tribute to the Truth since day one. But for those going into the show tomorrow, I would not expect that CM Punk is going to start his next feud on Tribute to the Truth. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to hear, the Welcome Back Home tour. I guess that's what people are trying to call it. There's going to be haters for CM Punk. It is what it is, right? But I'm curious to what he has to say, not only for what's going to happen tomorrow, not only that, but think about this. Raw this Monday, much to my chagrin, is in Cleveland, Ohio. The armpit of life, Cleveland, Ohio. Monday is going to be a full circle moment for me in my career, for me, because for those who don't know, the first night that I ever did a wrestling play-by-play article was the same night that CM Punk quit the WWE. January 27th, 2014, in the same arena in Cleveland where Raw is going to be this Monday. That building has some significance in this whole story, and I really think that it's an interesting element going into the show on Monday for Raw. This is the first time Punk's there in a WWE element since that day in that building. We knew what happened when he came back there for that UFC fight. Did not work out. I think he did an AEW show in that building before too. But when it comes to CM Punk, man, that's why we watch, man. He's really one of the last performers out there that has that relatability factor to him. And, things could pop off in a moment. And he's that performer that just grabs your attention on a higher level than most people. I've heard Jey Uso say on the bump yesterday that Punk may even carry himself with some tribal chief status, and that's what he is. He's a draw. He's one of the best performers of all time. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I consider CM Punk a GOAT for other reasons, but I'm curious just as much as anybody else of what's he going to say when it comes to not only Seth Rollins and everything, but what's next for him? What's he going to say on the show tomorrow on SmackDown? So, hey, man, it's just crazy. Punk was on that FS1 backstage show before he's making his first appearance on Fox with WWE. So there's a lot to chew on, man. Like I'm curious to see your guys' responses and what really stands out to you. Really quick, I want to pull up that clip from Jey Uso so you guys can see it for yourself. By the way, you guys should check out the bump. I think that show's very good for like the character development and different things that maybe we don't get to see highlighted on the weekly television shows. But let's hear what Jey Uso has to say. I wanted to play this clip for you guys, so we have some context. No. All right, here we go. All right, let's play the Jey Uso clip here. Here's Jey Uso from the bump.
Man, sign CM Punk. Like, why wouldn't we sign CM Punk? I know he got a whole bunch of haters or whatever. Hey, if we gonna be honest, like let's, he's a superstar first and foremost. People talk about him, and if we got anything to do with wrestling, his name's in it. He like on some tribal chief status. He's top guy regardless of whatever's going on. So my invitation is open, man. Bring him. Like, let's go. Let's run it, bro. I'll be your first one to run with it. Like, it's all good. It's all love. Let's go. Let's run it. Welcome back, though, CM Punk.
There you go. Yeet. By the way, the fact that they had to stop selling the Yeet shirts because of a fucking indie wrestler named Casey Huffman. Let me just throw that out of the way. Casey Huffman, you, my friend, are a CLAHN. CLAHN, okay? CLAHN. CLAHN. All right, let's continue on here. Let's go to SmackDown this past Friday night from Brooklyn, New York. A lot of things up in the air with Damage Control still. I think still a lot of them are kind of a little bit upset at Bayley over what happened at War Games and her being the one that took the pinfall in that match. Bianca still is, I wouldn't say power hungry, but she's in like this little like Becky Lynch phase where she's like always needs to have the next title shot. It's like she can't have her own grudge feuds without a championship being involved, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Obviously, if you're a wrestler, you want to have a championship. If not, why are you there, right? I'm not saying anything bad about it, but it's like she's in this period where, like, if she doesn't have a championship, she always needs to still have her name right around the title picture. And, she wants a title shot. Obviously, Charlotte Flair is another one, wants title shots. What's going to happen with Bayley? Will she stay in damage control or not? We have a lot of different variables to think about this whole situation. Not only that, there's a lot of other questions with the women's division. Does Jade Cargill show up soon? What brand is she on? Will Sasha Banks come back? I'm not clamoring for it, but it's out there. I'm not blind. I see the stuff on social media. I mean, are we really thinking that Mercedes Moné is going to be a ratings juggernaut for AEW, just like Adam Copeland was? Love Edge, but facts are facts. You could bring every big former WWE superstar you want to AEW, and they're still going to draw the same amount of viewership. We're just being honest here. So, look, I'm not clamoring for Sasha Banks to come back. I don't have a personal issue with her, but whether she does come back or she goes to AEW, I really don't give a shit because her fans are annoying as hell. I can't stand her fans. I can understand why people may be indifferent to CM Punk fans and stuff like that. I'm not an obnoxious CM Punk fan that can't call him out for when he makes mistakes and he carries himself in a jackassian manner. But Sasha Banks fans, this girl can do no wrong. No, perfect promos. I heard this all the time. The Shawn Michaels of women's wrestling. She's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Look, yes, she's easy on the eyes. Really, really hot. I say she's good in the ring. Let's say she's great. Promos? We all have our preferences. I get it. And she is a star in her own right. I'm not going to take that away from her. And again, I don't have a personal issue with her. But am I like, oh my God, please, Sasha, come back. Please, Sasha, back. If it happens, great. If she doesn't, it is what it is. But there are questions out there. What's going to happen with the women's division on SmackDown? I think we're kind of set on the Raw end because, they're still pushing Nia Jax. You still got Shayna Baszler around. You got Becky, Mommy. I think the Raw women's division is fine, but, it can't just be Io versus Bianca all the time. It'll have to be shuffled around sooner or later. Who knows how long Asuka will be part of Damage Control. So it's something to be on the lookout for. It's had my attention for sure over the last couple weeks. Going back really quick to CM Punk. I know a lot of people are excited for when that time comes when him and Rollins have that face-to-face conversation. Do we get some of the stuff that we had with Rollins and Matt Riddle where it gets really personal and some like real top-tier shit talking? Like, I hope so. I think that'd be great. But, Steph's going out of his way. He's calling Punk a hypocrite. Steph, on Monday, he's like, I don't care if you want to sign him to a exclusive contract, Adam Pearce, because he's going to show his true colors. And the only thing Punk has to do, because he's already in Seth Rollins' head in some ways. I mean, that's been another topic this week, is CM Punk in Seth Rollins' head. There's been a lot of CM Punk chants recently at shows directed at Seth Rollins. I would say that the crowd is turning on Seth. I'll take this time to put Seth over because I don't think a lot of my colleagues are, and I think it's unfortunate. And I get it when you see a certain performer for multiple weeks and the guy's rarely injured or takes time off of television, you could become complacent. And, I wouldn't say bored with a character, but I think in a lot of ways, a lot of people take Seth Rollins for granted. I'm not going to say that the WWE takes Seth Rollins for granted because he's been literally one of their most reliable top-tier superstars for the last 10, 15 years. So that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are like, okay, now that Punk's back, is that going to forced Seth Rollins to go into being a heel. There's a lot of questions up in the air. I want to play this clip here from Dave LaGreca and Busted Open from their podcast, and kind of he has some interesting thoughts on Seth's situation, and then I'll give my thoughts after this. So let's play this a little bit here from Dave LaGreca from Busted Open. Here we go.
CM Punk's the golden child, and Seth Rollins is getting a mixed reaction from the fans. He's getting bombarded by CM Punk chants, and that crowd at Albany was rooting for Jey Uso and not Seth Rollins. Like, if I'm Seth Rollins, I'm like, holy shit. I'm in a WWE ring, and I'm actually getting booed. I'm getting bombarded by CM. What the did I do? I've been nothing but loyal to you people. This guy here is like a cheating spouse. He's coming home because there's nowhere else for him to go. And you're cheering him and not me? Are you You're killing me here. You're killing me.
What happens to people who are too loyal?
Loyalty is seen as a weakness.
Correct.
Loyalty, when you're 100% loyal, you get screwed. Why? You know what? There's Dave. Dave's a great worker. Dave will do it, and he won't complain. He'll just do it. So give him more and more. Pay comes, time for pay raise. Boy, Dave's done a lot with Busted Open, but why would we give him a raise? He's loyal. Dave ain't going anywhere. By the way, that was a quote from an executive. Dave ain't going anywhere. You get when you're loyal. You get. And Seth Rollins right now is getting. There you go.
Look, man, it's an interesting question to throw out there. Do you think Seth Rollins is getting rattled? Do you feel like maybe in this situation where is this issue between him and Punk big enough to the point where it questions his loyalty to the WWE? Is it something where it would drive him to go to AEW? I can't believe I'm just spewing it out of my mouth right now. I don't think so, but again, I don't know Seth Rollins personally. I never met the guy. I don't know Colby Lopez, but just because CM Punk came back to the company, it doesn't take away for what the company has done for him and his family over the last couple of years. Yes, I get it. Seth has yet to be the standalone main event of WrestleMania, but look at this calendar year. I mean, outside of Cody, who is the more hardest working performer on that roster than him? You know, I get it. His character is an acquired taste. It's not for everybody. But to say that he's not one of the most popular superstars, or he's unworthy of being the world heavyweight champion, I don't agree with that. And I think that, again, like I said earlier, just because you're used to seeing a performer on TV for an extended period of time doesn't mean that their value is less diminished, in my opinion. Because you will tell a difference if Seth Rollins was not there. You will tell a difference when it comes to that time where Seth Rollins needs to get back surgery and get his back fixed. I've had it in my head that going into WrestleMania that we may not see Seth after that show. For a long while, he's been banged up. And, I don't really don't delve into the whole this performer deserves this and deserve that conversation, because I really don't think people deserve anything in wrestling. You earn shit. You don't deserve. You're not entitled to anything in wrestling. But I will say that, like, if there's anybody in that roster that deserves to say that they've been carrying the company on their back, it's him. So I can understand the frustration where you're being tossed aside. Maybe you're not the one fighting Roman Reigns at WrestleMania like you wanted to. And I heard Seth say that in interviews. Look, I can understand the frustration to a certain extent. But also at the same time, think about this. Seth Rollins has literally, in a lot of ways, even before Cody came back to the WWE, Seth has been the face of Monday Night Raw for almost 5 to 7 years now. Has it all been rainbows and butterflies? No. But I don't know, man. I understand that he doesn't like CM Punk, and that's fine. That's his prerogative. But this is a big enough issue where the fans are going to start turning on him, and they're going to try to force feed him into being a heel again, or he gets perturbed over the fact that his position on the card starts going down because of CM Punk and other performers during WrestleMania season. If that's enough for him, where he doesn't want to be in WWE anymore, go. I always said this about wrestlers. I don't have allegiance to companies. And if there's performers who don't want to be there, go. If you don't want to be there, go. It has nothing to do with, I would rather see Seth Rollins in AEW because he would do new stuff and he would fight guys that we haven't seen wrestle before and stuff like that. I'm not naive to think that's not a reality. I wouldn't be surprised if he did go to AEW one day. I wouldn't. But to also throw that out there, I think his loyalty to WWE, as Bully Ray and Dave LaGreca just mentioned there, I think that loyalty in some ways has been rewarded to him in a lot of ways too. Him and Cody stole WrestleMania in Dallas. You know, him and Logan had a really top tier match this past year's WrestleMania. It's an interesting situation, man. I feel like a lot of people take Seth Rollins for granted, and I think it's unfortunate. But that's just my opinion. But when these two do interact with each other, whenever that happens, it's going to be interesting for sure. All right, so quick takeaways from the shows this week. Bobby Lashley and Butch, I thought that was pretty good. Santos Escobar got a victory over Joaquin Wilde. Logan Paul was back on the show, and announced that it's going to be a 8-person tournament to determine his next challenger for the United States Championship. Let's see who are in this tournament. So you have Santos Escobar, what? Dragon Lee, what? Karrion Kross, what? Bobby Lashley, what? Grayson Waller, what? Austin Theory, what? Kevin Owens, what? And an NXT superstar. Who could that be? Is it Carmelo Hayes? Is it? I don't think it's Ilya Dragunov, so we can toss that out to the side. Is it Tyler Bate? Is Tyler Bate in this U.S. tournament? Is it Dijak? That's a possibility as well. We all don't know. There are possibilities. I will say that I do like the field of this tournament. I have no problem with it. I think it's going to be cool. I know Santos and Dragon Lee are fighting tomorrow on SmackDown. Also, Bobby Lashley taking on Killer Cross, so that should be a good match as well. But, all this for a number one contender spot against Logan Paul for the United States title. No harm, no foul. I think it would be really good. And who knows? Let's say they go through this tournament, right? And the winner fights Logan on the first SmackDown of 2024. Maybe Kevin wins or somebody else wins. I think one way or another we will go into having Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. That is my prediction. At the same time, though, I don't think Kevin has to win this tournament. It could be somebody else. But at the same time, I do believe that we will get Kevin Owens against Logan Paul eventually for the United States Championship. Let's see what else we got here. I did like the back and forth interaction that he had with Logan, though, with KO. KO's match with Grayson Waller, no harm, no foul. I thought that was pretty decent. And then we had the decision. Randy Orton, will he go to SmackDown and get his revenge on the Bloodline? Or will he stay with Monday Night Raw? Adam Pearce comes in. Adam Pearce can be passive aggressive. at times. That that's just a fact. He could be passive aggressive at times, but he was like, you know what, Randy, you stay on Raw, you get the next shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. And then Nick Aldis says that he could give Randy a shot at the Bloodline. We all know where this is going. Randy wants revenge. He's getting some big pops, by the way, man. It's great to have Randy back. I think we're in for some fun TV going into WrestleMania because Randy Orton's a fun time, man. And seeing him interact with the Bloodline, you know, he got into a brawl with Solo and Jimmy, gave Jimmy the RKO, LA Knight's helping out Randy Orton against the Bloodline. LA Knight still has issues with the Bloodline. That's the thing, too. What happens with LA Knight? Does he get a shot at Roman again? I'm all for Randy to fight Roman at the Royal Rumble. I think that'd be tremendous. But Randy being back on television is just fun. So Randy decides to go to SmackDown. They're celebrating in the ring. And then Randy drops Nick Aldis with the RKO. Tremendous. Oh, man. Randy Orton's the man. So I'm excited to see what he does tomorrow. Maybe get some more conversations with Paul Heyman along the way. I'm here for it. By the way, I think him and Solo would have a very good match on PLE, if you want my opinion on that. So that was SmackDown for Brooklyn. I thought it was a decent show. I thought Raw this week was the best show of the week from Raw and SmackDown. Raw this past Monday was in Albany, New York. Started off with a very intense promo with Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. I thought these two had some really good lines thrown at each other. You know, Sammy's telling Drew, like, hey, you're continuing to complain about Clash of the Castle, yet I lost at the Elimination Chamber, but guess what? I stayed motivated, I stayed driven, I stayed hungry, and that propelled me to win those Undisputed Tag Team titles in the main event of WrestleMania this past year. So Sammy's getting through Drew's head. The line where Sammy's like, hey, you know, I continue to make my family proud. Are you making your family proud? That was the look on Drew's face was fantastic because, you know, that's just a line you just don't want to go into. So Sammy kind of had it coming to him. I guess you could label this episode of Raw Sami Zayn got. So I thought that was interesting. They had a very good match. There was a lot of long matches on Raw this past Monday night. No complaints in my end because typing out long promo segments are a challenge at times for me. But doing matches like cake. It's easy as drinking water. I could type out a long match regardless of what company it is. But we had that. We had DIY against Imperium, the 2 out of 3 falls match. Fantastic. We had the Creeds against Judgment Days, Dominic Mysterio and JD McGriddle. We had Cody and Nakamura. This was one of my favorite segments for TV this week. Just love the little different layers and the points that Nakamura was bringing up that, yeah, they do have a similar journey. They both had disappointments at WrestleMania for the championship matches that they had. And, you know, he's like, I didn't get a chance to finish my story, so I'm going to finish yours. So they did announce that Cody will fight Nakamura this Monday on Raw. But something will happen in that match, and I think that will go towards the first Raw of 2024. I think we're far from over between these two interacting with each other. And look, man, I like this new presentation of Nakamura. I think he's doing a great job so far. So I just wanted to put over Nakamura really quick because I think he deserves it. Let's see what else here we can talk about here for the shows before we get to other stuff here. I've thrown away and talked about some of the stuff that I would like to see at the Royal Rumble. So we got through that. So I mentioned Cody and Nakamura. And then we had Seth and Jay as the main event. Another good match. Seth Rollins retains the World Championship. Drew McIntyre attacks Jay after the match. Lays out Seth Rollins, right? With overhead suplex on the floor. And then he puts Jay Uso through the announce table. Now we got to the point now where Drew McIntyre and Jay Uso, it's on site. So can't see how that happens, but I really think Raw this week was the best show that I've seen between Raw and SmackDown. So good shit there. Before we wrap up the segment, I do have to make a little preview and predictions. No, for NXT Deadline coming up this Saturday from Bridgeport, Connecticut, live on Peacock. I'm excited to check this out. This will be for the Total Mortgage Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Here are your matches. So let's do this in excrement style, all right? Coming to you live from Bridgeport, Connecticut this Saturday night. It's NXT Deadline. Here are your matches. On the kickoff show, we have Axiom taking on Nathan Frazier. From there, we have a steel cage match featuring Roxanne Perez and Kiana James. Carmelo Hayes takes on his bitter rival, Lexis King. Coming up next, this match was made on this past week's edition of NXT as Dirty Dominic Mysterio alongside Rhea Ripley will put the NXT North American Championship on the line against Dragon Lee, who will be accompanied by WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. From there, we have the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge pitting Tiffany Stratton, Last Legend, Blair Davenport, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley. And for the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, we have Dijak, Trick Williams, Josh Briggs, Braun Breaker, and Tyler Bate. And our main event for the NXT Championship is Ilya Dragunov against Baron Corbin. There you go. This card is pretty good. I'm excited for it. The fact that you have Axiom and Nathan Frazier as a pre-show match. Almost good as the Gabagool, you know what I mean? So we have Roxanne and Kiana. They're kind of like a on-site type of program, you know. You see somebody, you want to throw those hands. You want to give out the beats, you know what I mean? So you're gonna have Kiana and Roxanne. I think Roxanne will win that match. I got Carmelo beating Lexis King. Curious to see how that match goes. Also, we have Dominic against Dragon Lee for the North American title. I think some way, somehow, Dominic will retain over Dragon Lee. It just seems like nobody wants to take the title off this poor guy. So I have Blair Davenport winning the Iron Survivor Challenge match. That's my guess. Either her or Tiffany Stratton. And then for the dudes, I got Tyler Bate or Braun Breaker winning this match. I don't think Trick Williams will win. I think he'll get close, but I don't think Trick Williams will win this match. I think it's going to be Braun Breaker or Tyler Bate. And then I do have Dragunov retaining against Baron Corbin, but I do want to mention this really quick. If you guys haven't seen the Dragunov Corbin promo from NXT this week, you should go check it out. I thought it was very, very good. So, all in all, I'm excited for Deadline coming up on Saturday. If you want to see my transcription, play-by-play article for that show, make sure to check out my work at Wrestling Headlines. So, on that note, folks, that is a wrap-up for this week in WWE. Make sure to sit back, relax, strap it down, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's time for another restaurant quality edition of a segment that's taken over the world. A segment that's good for the ears and good for the soul. A segment that Brother Carter and I made a few years ago. A segment that should be nominated for an Emmy, if you will. Hell, it should be nominated as a podcast segment of the year, if you're asking me. Just being honest. So, All that being said, it's time for another restaurant quality edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is going to be one for the ages. And I apologize to the man upstairs. That's all I'm going to say. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your meat, beat 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 your meat.
I'm telling you, my time is right now. Right this minute, 2022. We're living in my time is now. My time is right goddamn now.
Man, what intensity.
The quality of the product and the quality of the shows is at an all-time high right now. But I do know that it's a real war between AEW and WWE.
I'm still cashing fat checks, and I am still banging the hottest bitch in this entire place.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
All right, folks, time for another edition of What the Hell's Wrong with AEW. The segment brought to you by the good folks at the Wrestling Observer and Fightful Select. All right, folks, what do you guys want to talk about? Because this episode of Dynamite was repug. No, I'm kidding. I thought Dynamite this week was decent. Not a bad show. I think the crux of what I really want to talk about is this stuff with the whole discipline committee with Bryan Danielson and just how stupid and foolish it sounds. But look, I'll put over the stuff that I did like. I feel like for the most part with the whole Continental Classic and everything, it's been okay. Well, it's anything that's earth-shattering great or whatever. But what I will say, though, is that as somebody who's covered, 5 to 6 G1 Climax tournaments, and a guy who prides himself on noticing really, really good tournaments from what they are, I will say, for the most part, the Continental Classic has served its purpose, and it's been good. I would not say it's been great. I wouldn't even say it's been something that I feel it's like must see either. Because from my point of view, in a lot of ways, I felt like this whole thing with the Continental Classic is just a cosplay G1. And the fact that we're introducing another title, I just think it's unnecessary, in my personal opinion. So, all that being said, from my perspective as a guy who's transcribed G1s, here's my quick takeaways on the Continental Classic. The match has been fine. Not really surprised that Jon Moxley and Swerve are running through the competition. Same thing with Bryan Danielson. I haven't seen a lot of the Collision matches. I don't have the full updated brackets and stuff like that, but I don't feel like this Continental Classic is something I feel like it's a must-see. The matches are fine, but compared to the G1, I just haven't seen it yet. I haven't felt that G1 style match. Don't get me wrong, there's been some good ones, especially last night. I thought Jay Lethal and Jay White, I thought their match was pretty solid. Same thing with Swerve Strickland and Mark Briscoe. I thought they had a good match. Swerve won that drive. He was so bad. You know? So you got that going on. I thought it was a good match. You know, you had Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston on Collision this past Saturday. Jon Moxley put Roosh to sleep to kick off the show last night. So I thought that was okay. But I don't know. I just haven't been feeling it compared to what the G1 is. And I have high standards, so it is what it is. But look, I get it. Nobody was expecting Jay Lethal or Mark Briscoe to win this tournament. I sure as hell wasn't. But what I will say, though, is that Mark Briscoe is playing the role of Yoshihashi. Really solid matches, but not winning them. And Jay Lethal, for the most part, is Yujiro Takahashi in this Continental Classic. So, little brief recap of the Continental Classic there, but that's just my takeaways from what I've seen so far. I know there's some matches for the Continental Classic coming up this weekend on Rampage and on Collision. And this tournament will conclude at Nassau Coliseum for World's End. I just don't think this concept is good for television under these circumstances because the people behind this promotion are inept. And I just don't see that feel of the G1. And the G1's not for everybody. And that's a great thing, too. But I just haven't felt a G1 match. And it doesn't help that Excalibur is still calling matches. The fact that we're 5 years in and Tony Khan still thinks that Excrement is worthy enough of being the lead play-by-play guy on that show. This tells you what you need to know as well. So, look. If you've been loving the Continental Classic, if you're marking out for it, that's your prerogative. But for me, and I can only speak for myself, yes, there's been some good matches in between, but is it something that really needs a new title attached to it? And is it something that I need to watch in my television show? No. That's just my honest take on the Continental Classic. Let's put over something that I did like from Dynamite last night. We had a conversation between MJF and Hangman Page in the back with the beautiful Renee Paquette, the hottest thing to come out of Canada. That's just my opinion. So let's play this segment here for you guys, and I hope you guys liked it.
I'm looking to get a word with MJF, who's teaming up with Samoa Joe tonight to take on the Devil's Masked Men.
Are you doing an interview on your frame?
Yeah, you are actually.
I don't care.
Cool. I would love to get a word with you, though. I mean, Hangman, we've not seen you since Full Gear, your Texas Death Match with Swerve Strickland. How are you? How have you been? Where have you been?
Well, I got hit in the back of the head with a cinder block and then choked unconscious. So I could not fly for a few weeks. And I'm glad that you caught me. I'm glad we're doing this because there is something that I needed to say to you, Swerve, and to the world. Swerve, you broke into my home. You went into my son's room. It took Prince Nana, it took Brian Cage, but you beat me in a Texas death match on pay-per-view. I can concede. I can recognize when I have lost, and you have beaten me. But Swerve, at Full Gear, I took something from you that you will never get back. And I think that we are bound by something bigger than either of us. And I think that you should know this is not over. And Swerve, I know what you want more than anything from this life. And I promise, because of what you did to me, I will make sure that you never have it.
Howdy, Seabiscuit. You know, I just wanted to say to you, first of all, bravo on that match at Full Gear against Strickland. I mean, it was so impressive watching two guys battle out to see who could get more STDs. I mean, it was great stuff.
Look. Honestly, I don't have 30 minutes to stand here and have you talk to me like you normally do. So if this is your interview, right, I will let you have at it. Enjoy.
You know, the reason that I have to go out there for 30 minutes is to wake the crowd up after they have to deal with somebody like you beforehand, putting them to sleep. But anyway, Renee.
Is this what you want to do? Is there something else you want to say to me?
You know, it's funny you ask. See, my memory's not all that great, Renee. I mean, I've been hit in the head a couple times during this incredible reign here. Do you think, I think the last time you and I were eye to eye, wasn't it when I like verbally bent you over in front of Bret Hart at Double or Nothing? Was that it?
Yeah. I think you were talking about a match that ended when I buckshotted you and threw your ass over the top rope anyway, right? Was that the one?
That's a good memory. Good memory there. See, what I remember is I recall the first time I won the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but I can't recall who I beat. I know it was some talentless white trash hit. Renee, do you remember who I beat for the Dynamite Diamond Ring? Because it's escaping me.
Oh, man, I think it was me, and I think it made me so upset, I had to console myself by becoming the world champion instead.
Oh, yeah. That reign was fantastic. Lasted about 6 months, right? Tremendous stuff. Thing is, my reign's kind of been well over a year.
Well, I'm sure you're real proud of that, and I'm sure you'll continue to be proud of it while you're 70 years old, at home, by yourself, telling your 9th cat about your 1-year title reign.
It's cute. Yeah. It's cute. Funny stuff. You want to get honest here, Hangman? You know what I think, actually?
Yeah, I want to know what you think.
I think out of everybody in this locker room, if there's one guy I think you're the devil, man.
The devil, the mask, the mask guy. You think I'm running around in a Party City mask attacking? No. Honestly, Max, I have known you for a long time, and for as long as I have known you, you have been a manipulator, Max. If we want to be honest, just be honest with me, Max. It's probably just you, right? You put on a mask, you run around, you attack your opponents, you pretend you attacked yourself, right? I don't know what the deal is, but it's just you. Just be honest with me. Come on.
You want more honesty?
Yeah, tell me the truth.
I honestly beat the living crap.
No. Easy. It's my responsibility now. And what is wrong with you? We have other issues tonight, and they do not involve him.
All right. Some good stuff there. That was up there. Like I said, I didn't think that Dynamite was a horrible show last night, but it wouldn't be AEW without AEW getting in their own way, right? Excuse me. I had to say this before I get to the Adam Copeland, Christian Cage stuff that happened last night. Who the fuck made Bryan Danielson Gandhi? Can somebody explain that to me? Who made Bryan Danielson the end-all, be-all of fucking professional wrestling? And he's the moral compass, and he walks on water. He's worthy enough dishing out fines and stuff like that. And before I hear another person or colleague of mine say, well, WWE issues out fines too. Here's the difference. They don't have their wrestlers issuing fines because they're a professional fucking company. That's the difference. But WWE. That's the best you got. Oh, but WWE does this. No, they don't. They have fucking professionals, an HR department, human resources. Who the fuck who's running the HR department in AEW? Aubrey Edwards? Ray Charles Edwards? Don't tell me, Bryan Danielson's the perfect person to be a leader of discipline committee. Bullshit. The dude doesn't have self-awareness. The guy can't fucking protect himself at the time. He's a liability to the promotion as a performer. And you're going to tell me that he's the one that's worthy enough to be the moral compass of this fucking daycare center for bruised egos from the WWE? That's what you're telling me with a straight face? Oh, we got these reports this week that vibes around AEW is all negative, man. Not a lot of optimism out there. You know, a lot of people are down on the brand. They don't know where things are going to go half the time. There's a lot of doubt about the future, and still the boys are running the asylum. Oh wow, am I supposed to be surprised? Remember when I was being labeled a hater of AEW when I was pointing this shit out in 2020 and 2021, even during the pandemic time. We had COVID going on, but I can see these issues coming a mile away. Sorry that I didn't bite the whole AEW propaganda off the gate, but I was the hater. Everything that everybody and their mother is talking about now regarding AEW in a constructive or critical point of view is stuff that you, each and every single one of you, have heard and listened to on this podcast for the last 4 years. The reasons why I don't come out here and blow VA and kiss Tony Khan's ass and everything in between is everything that everybody else is talking about right now. And I've been calling this out for fucking 3.5 years. Now people want to bring it up. Now people want to put an eye to the fact that this clown has no business running a wrestling promotion. And what NJS said at the forum a couple years ago is true. The only position that he should assume is behind the fucking guardrail. Bryan Danielson, the leader of the discipline committee, he's issuing out fines. Here, Bryan, take this fine and shove it up your ass. You got a beautiful fucking wife at home and a great family, yet you need to come out with your fucking pirate patch and do this stupid cosplay G1. Have some self-awareness. If this is really your last year of being a professional wrestler, wouldn't you want to go fix what's ailing you first? Then you could go out on your own terms? But no, we got to rush back from injury. We got to pretend to have seizures. But this is the guy that's supposed to lead the example of what to and what not to do for your wrestling promotion. I get it. A lot of people think that Bryan Danielson walks on water. He's the greatest technical wrestler of all time. Yeah, Bryan Danielson is a great wrestler with no self-awareness. And that's your leader of your discipline committee. That's the guy that had the voice to say that CM Punk needed to be fired. Okay. Great. Awesome. Not calling Bryan Danielson a bad person. I have respect for him. But this whole discipline committee stuff and the reporting behind it gets dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber as days go by. When will Tony Khan have some balls and just act like a fucking boss once? Is that too hard to ask? I get it. You got Fulham. You got the Jaguars. You got True Media. You got everything under the sun. But you don't have the ability to hire the right people to do jobs that are entitled with those positions. You got the wrong people in the wrong positions, and you still have boys in creative, and you got dirt sheet podcasters helping you out with creative as well. And you get to see what we get to see every single week. And now everybody that was going after me and Brother Carter and calling us haters of AEW are now pointing out the same shit that we've been calling out and saw it right as it was happening. Sorry that I have self-awareness and I can see what's right in front of me, and I don't need fucking sources and Meltzer and et cetera, to tell me what my eyes see. I see a indie / TNA ripoff on TBS each and every single week that's not progressing, it's not evolving, still doesn't have an identity going into 2024. And here we are. We're talking about, again, more behind-the-scenes problems than we are what's going on in the ring. And you can tell that these crowds are barely showing up to these shows now. And now people want to call out Tony Khan. When this has been a running issue, even when CM Punk was in AEW. So, I needed to get that off my chest. Let's talk about Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, because another trope of Tony Khan is dropping his load on these shows. So we had to have Adam Copeland and Christian on Dynamite last night because they're in Canada. They're in Montreal. Much to the surprise of nobody, they had a good match. But guess what? Instead of waiting for the right time and having that pay-per-view, no, we have the match go on. We make our referee look fucking stupid as usual with Bryce Rensburg. Christian gives him the low blow. He just massively forgets that he got low blow during the match so that Nick Wayne's mom can come down to the ring and hit Edge with the title, with a belt shot. The most obvious belt shot that fucking Ray Charles saw coming from his grave. Like, is anybody surprised by this? Is anybody surprised by what we saw last night in that match? Please, somebody tell me, like, who is invested in Nick Wayne's mom as a character? I'm not. Yeah, she's hot. If you write the bill of what a MILF is, that's her to a T. And she's hot. I don't blame Christian for having the hots for her. They'll probably have a makeout session next week. Great. But as a character in a highly anticipated match that people have been wanting to see that for many, many years, you drop it on free television, and for that to be the way to end the match. And like I said last week when they announced this, by the time we get that pay-per-view match, sure, it'll be great. These two are great storytellers. They're great in-ring psychologists, etc., etc. This is not a knock towards Edge and Christian, so I want to make that perfectly clear. But at the time that we get to the match, you want the fucking feud to be over with. And this is the issue when you drop your load on TV shows. And guess what? Is this show that I watched last night on TBS going to pop 1 million viewers? I don't think so. So we'll have to wait to Revolution, right? For this match to happen properly. And by the time, are we still going to care when Nick Wayne's mom is now a focal point in the matter? Like, come on, guys. She's great to look at. She's great on the eyes, but get her off my TV screen. And it just looks dumb. It makes your referee look fucking stupid. Oh, I'm just going to magically forget that I got kicked in the balls, but I'll be ready to go to make that cover. 1, 2, 3. And then earlier in the show, too, I didn't forget about this. Paul Turner letting Jon Moxley and Roosh brawl over the arena like it's fucking Bruiser Brody and Abdullah the Butcher. Like we're in world class or Puerto Rico. God, man, your referees are freaking clown shoes. They're Nimrods. All right. Let's do my excrement impression. Let's wrap this stupid segment because this show gives me nausea. All right. Here we go. Coming to you live tomorrow night on TNT. It's a special edition of AEW Rampage. Change our matches. Orange Cassidy takes on Angelico. From there, we hear comments from Hook. And we have Abaddon taking on Trish Adora. Next, we have the Don Callis family taking on the team of Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal. And from there, the main event is a Blue League Continental Classic match featuring Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. Then coming up on Saturday, taped on TNT, is another edition of AEW Collision. First, we have Blue League action in the Continental Classic featuring Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli. We have Kenny Omega taking on Ethan Page. Wardlow's in action against Willie Mack. Willie Nightingale takes on Mercedes Martinez. We have Pentagon Jr. and Commander taking on Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. And our main event is a Blue League match in the Continental Classic featuring Andrade El Idolo against Bryan Danielson. More matches to be announced on Twitter. Make sure to follow Tony Khan on Twitter at Tony Khan. Make sure to get all your tickets right now at AEWTIX.com. That's AEWTIX.com. And on that note, we pose a question each and every single week. What the hell is wrong with AEW?
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
All right, folks, that concludes what the hell is wrong with AEW this week. Let me get you guys feedback on this segment. Let me get this off the screen here really quick. All right, time for another segment before we get to our main event segment. A fun segment that we do each and every single week called the CLAHN of the Week. Let's play this clip here.
I'm not CLAHN. You're big CLAHN.
One more time.
I'm not CLAHN. You're big CLAHN.
Lots of nominees for the CLAHN of the Week this week. First goes off to Andre Chase for practicing some illegal tactics with gambling at Chase University. I didn't forget that. CLAHN. That's the first time he used the TV situation as the CLAHN of the Week. Oh, man. Pots me. What else here? Did we miss our Skyline? What happened here? Hold up. There you go. We're back to business. As I was saying, we had that. I'm trying to see who else really stood out as a CLAHN of the Week. We had the Von Miller stuff. Again, I don't advocate for domestic violence. I just don't think that stuff is cool. I like to throw in Andrew Tate as well because that's another CLAHN out there. I like to throw in Cubs fans who think that they're a CLAHN. Andrew Tate's a CLAHN. I can't stand that dude. We have a lot of different options to pick from, obviously. I didn't forget about this either. Steve Carrier of Ringside News. I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but I guess one of the writers on this site that's been there for a while decided to quit this week. And I don't know if quit or got fired, but he exposed Ringside News for how shady of an operation it is and how much of a CLAHN Steve Carrier is. I think Steve Carrier deserves his own wing in the CLAHN of the Week. My God. Did you see that? It was embarrassing. As somebody who's been in the wrestling media for the last 10 years to see how that's going on over there, unacceptable, in my opinion. So Steve Carrier, of all people especially, you are a CLAHN of the Week. Okay, let's make my picks really quick for the football week. We got coming up here, week 14. We got playoffs coming up soon and a lot of big-time matches coming up this weekend. So let's see what we got here. I have the Steelers beating the Patriots tonight on Thursday Night Football. Bucks over the Falcons, Colts over the Bengals. I got the Jags over the Browns. That should be a decent game. Saints over the Panthers, Texans over the Jets, Ravens over the Rams, Vikings on the road getting the victory over the Raiders. Got the 49ers over the Seahawks, Chiefs over the Bills, Chargers over the Broncos, Cowboys over the Eagles, Dolphins over the Titans, Packers over the Giants on Monday Night Football. And then, yes, unfortunately, the Detroit Lions will beat my Chicago Bears, unfortunately. Because it's Chicago sports, and you know the drill. We stinks. Also saw a little thing about Jerry Reinsdorf having a meeting with the mayor of Nashville. There's this speculation that the White Sox will be moving from the South Side to Nashville. I mean, I've always said Nashville wouldn't be a bad option for me if that's the place I wanted to move. Like Nashville or Central Florida, that was my two primary places I wanted to go to. But White Sox moving to Nashville will make me sick. I don't know as sick as it makes me feel seeing Patrick Kane in a Detroit Red Wings jersey. But the White Sox going to Nashville, Jerry Reinsdorf, go screw yourself. No. We got one more break to get here too. When we come back, we'll get to our main event segment. Not a lot of questions this week. I only got questions this week from Chris Saletta this week. So when we come back, we'll wrap up the show and get into our main event segment, otherwise known as the Back Porch Q&A, right here on the Hoots Podcast. All right, folks, time for the Back Porch Q&A session here on the Hoots Podcast. Ready to rock and roll here. We got questions this week from the good brother Chris Saletta at XTSaletta24X on Twitter. Let's throw out the X for him. There you go. Let's see what Chris has for us this week. Dum, 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 dum. All right, here we go. Here's the question for the Q&A this week. Where do you put Mike Evans as one of the best wide receivers currently? I'd probably put him in the top 10. That's probably my best guess. I'd probably say top 10. I would have put him in the top 5, but he gets a lot of stats. It just sucks for him that he's on crappy teams ever since Tom Brady left. So, I'd probably say Mike Evans is definitely a top 10 receiver. Who do you think Shohei Ohtani signs with? Well, from what I'm hearing that Ohtani is kind of like a diva, kind of like high maintenance and stuff like that. So he'd probably go to the Dodgers. That's my best guess. Who wins the U.S. title tournament? I'm going to go with Dragon Lee or Kevin Owens. Those are my two picks. Does Bayley get booted from Damage Control before the Rumble or after? Great question there. I think Bayley will get the boot before the Royal Rumble. If anything, if like the first SmackDown in 2024, we'll have the angle where Damage Control turns on Bayley and Bayley fights Io at the Royal Rumble. There you go. Or maybe Charlotte has the match with Io at Royal Rumble. We'll have to see. Should WWE put a pay-per-view back in between Survivor Series at the Royal Rumble? Probably not. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. Obviously, I wouldn't mind it from a financial point of view. But I think it's like because most people would automatically be like, hey, can we just get to the Royal Rumble? People look like the pay-per-view in December would be like a throwaway type of show. So, no, I'm fine how it is. It gives them more time to build for the matches towards the Royal Rumble. So, those December pay-per-views were more like placeholders, so it's not really a big deal whether or not we have one in between Survivor Series or Royal Rumble. But we do have a pay-per-view on Saturday called Deadline, but it's an NXT one. So let's see how that one plays at AHT. By the way, for those who are watching live on YouTube, if you have any questions for me, let me know. Hit us up in the chat box here as well. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Does Josh Briggs eventually turn on Brooks? Feels like that's coming. Yes. Jensen didn't fully turn on Briggs when he was trying to have that hookup with Kiana James. Now that Briggs has his attention on Tiffany Stratton, that's definitely happening. Heel turn Jones. Josh Briggs will turn heel. That's the shoot. With the news on Okada this week, do you think there's a chance he possibly leaves New Japan? That's a good question. I'm kind of like 60-40 on that, to be honest with you. As a guy who's covering New Japan, obviously it would be a big blow to the promotion if it was the fact that he did want it to leave. But that's the thing, man. Goes back to what I mentioned earlier with Ospreay a couple episodes ago. It's like, hey, we've seen him fight a lot of the guys on the AEW show already. We already seen him on 2 Forbidden Doors. We've seen everybody that Okada's had to face, in AEW. So having that idea of what it would look like for him in WWE is more interesting in my point of view, because I already seen the fight Olivier and Ospreay and Moxley and Jericho, and I already seen it already. So it's really up to him. I think he wants to be loyal at the end of the day to New Japan, and I don't blame him. But if the opportunity arises for him to do something in WWE, why not take it? So I'm kind of more like 60 and 40 as far as like how that's going to play out. But it's an interesting question because I'm obviously a fan of Okada for many, many years, and we'll have to see how that one plays out. Let's see. When do you see the Usos eventually getting back together? They'll probably be back together after SummerSlam or something like that. I wouldn't think it'd be too long. I think they'll get back together. Does the Yeet trademark get worked out at some point? Hopefully. I mean, the fact that we're having this hold up over an indie wrestler, give him the money, give him what he wants, and it's ridiculous that it has to be taken away like that. So that's the questions this week. I know it's short and abbreviated, but I want to thank Chris and the Good Brothers. I appreciate Chris for sending the questions this week as always. He always does a great job. So on that note, we're going to put a ring on the bow for this week's episode of the Hoots Podcast. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. Hit me up at Instagram at Joshie Lopez Media. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel as we're on the road to 500 subscribers. And we're 10 episodes. Actually, we go down for 10 to 9 now. We're officially 9 episodes away from episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast. Remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. Remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. Love you guys. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the football. Go Bears. Make sure you go check out NXT Deadline. I think it's going to be a dope show on Saturday, so go check it out. I'm looking forward to it. Also, I wanted to mention this really quick. I was thinking about it since today was episode 390. There's been some significant episodes that we did with the 90s. Like episode 90 of the Hoots Podcast was the one where Adam made his return from his hiatus of podcasting. And we reviewed Raw 25. Those episodes are in our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe so you can go check out our earlier editions of the Hoots Podcast. Episode 190, I believe, was a Royal Rumble review show where Drew McIntyre won it in 2020. And then 290 was our New Year's Eve episode of the Hoots Podcast. So this was a special one, too. I had a lot of fun. We had a lot of good conversations this week, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. The countdown to episode 400 continues, and this podcast is still top tier in my opinion, and I love to see you guys' feedback. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. This has been episode 390 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll talk to y'all next week. Yes, sir.